He did not plan to speak in the alien throne room, but one small sentence from the human stopped the whole galaxy from breathing. The guards froze, the advisors stared, and even the great Queen of Ice turned her glowing eyes toward him. No one had ever heard her laugh. No one had ever seen her smile, and no one believed a human could change anything. But when he said those shocking words, the impossible happened. The Queen did not rage, did not scream, did not order his death. She simply paused, and the galaxy waited to see if she would kill him or laugh again. Now, let us go to the place where dust, sacrifice, and destiny first collided. Where the story truly begins, Jay stood alone in the center of the giant alien throne room. The floor under his boots was made of smooth, dark stone, glowing slightly with blue light. All around him, tall aliens in armor stared down from raised platforms. Cold and silent, at the end of the hall sat the one no one dared to look at for too long, the alien queen. Valzera. She was known across galaxies as the Queen of Ice. She never smiled, never laughed, never showed mercy. Her voice was like thunder, and her punishments were quick. But today, she was quiet, simply watching the humans standing before her. Jay was a translator, brought in by mistake when a merchant ship was captured. He wasn't a soldier or a spy, just a man with a smart mouth and bad timing. He didn't kneel like the others, didn't bow too deep. And when the Queen asked him to explain why humans laugh at danger, he had answered too honestly. He said something the guards didn't understand, but the translation device repeated it across the throne room, loud and clear. "You've got a great butt for someone who rules a galaxy." The silence hit like a bomb. Weapons pointed at him from every corner. Guards stepped forward, ready to cut him down where he stood. Even the alien advisors gasped, their pale faces turning gray. Jay blinked, realizing what just happened. He didn't mean to insult her. He just thought it might break the tension. It worked, but not in the way he expected. The Queen didn't move at first. Then, slowly, she raised one eyebrow. She leaned forward on her throne, and something strange happened. She laughed. It wasn't a loud laugh, just a small chuckle, but in that room, filled with tension and silence, it was like thunder. No one had ever heard the Queen laugh. Not once in her whole rule of 50 years, Jay stood frozen. Unsure if that was good or bad, one of the guards whispered, "Did she just?" Another alien dropped his weapon in shock, but Queen Valzera raised her hand, silencing them all. She stared at Jay with glowing golden eyes. "Earthling," she said, her voice like soft wind through fire. "You are." Not what I expected. Jay tried to speak, but only a nervous laugh came out. "I didn't mean AI was just trying to." "Lighten the mood," he said. The Queen stood up slowly, her long dark cloak trailing behind her. Her armor shone like black crystal under the lights. She walked down the steps of her throne, each step echoing when she stood in front of Jay. She looked down at him. The room was dead silent again, everyone waiting for his death. Instead, she said, "Take him to my chambers." Gasps filled the air, Your Majesty. One of the elders dared to ask, "I want to know more about this Earth humor," she replied, almost amused. She turned back to Jay and added, "And if you ever lie again, it will melt your bones." Jay nodded fast. "Yes, ma'am. Total honesty. Only the good jokes." The Queen turned and walked away, leaving stunned guards behind. Two of them grabbed Jay, not roughly, but firmly, and led him out of the hall. As the heavy doors closed behind him, the whispers began. The Queen laughed. She's never done that before. Is this the end of the Empire? Or maybe a new beginning? Jay didn't know what was waiting in her chambers. He didn't know why she spared him. But one thing was clear. His words had changed something in her. And maybe, just maybe, that sentence had done more than any weapon ever could. A human had made the Ice Queen laugh, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. The Queen's private chambers were nothing like Jay expected. He thought it would be dark, cold, and full of sharp things. But instead, it was warm, glowing with soft lights and smooth golden walls. Strange alien plants floated gently in the air, releasing a calming scent. Jay stood near the center, unsure if he should sit or run. 2 guards had brought him in, then left without a word. The large doors shut behind them with a soft hiss. Now, he was alone until she arrived. Queen Valzera entered without her royal crown. Her armor was replaced by a sleek, simple robe made of silver threads. She walked quietly. No sound from her feet, no anger in her eyes. Jay tried not to look directly at her, unsure what was allowed. "You are afraid," she said calmly. Jay forced a nervous smile. "Not afraid. Just unsure which joke might get me vaporized." Her lips curled slightly, almost a smirk. "I have been told laughter is weakness," she said. Turning to face a mirror, she studied her reflection for a moment, touching her own face gently. "But when I laughed, I felt something different," she whispered. Jay took a small step forward. "Laughter isn't weakness. It's life. It's human." She turned to him. "Explain it." Jay scratched his head. "Okay, well, humans laugh when we're nervous, happy, scared, or surprised. Sometimes we laugh just to make others feel better," he added. Valzera narrowed her eyes. "And what was your purpose?" "Making a joke about my form." Jay cleared his throat. "To be honest, it was the first thing that came to my mind." He waited to be slapped, burned, or banished. Instead, she turned away, walking to a large console built into the wall. She pressed a few buttons, and a hologram appeared. Earth footage, old videos of human comedians. "I studied your kind, but this humor was forbidden to me." Jay looked shocked. "Why?" "Because my father believed feelings made rulers weak," she said, her voice flat. "So we were trained to hide everything: pain, joy, love." Her fingers hovered over a pause button as a man on screen slipped on a banana peel and fell. She blinked, unsure. "Why is this funny?" Jay grinned. "Because it's unexpected, harmless, and, well, kinda dumb." Valzera watched the clip again, this time with more interest. Then she asked, "Tell me another." Jay thought quickly, then shared a simple Earth joke. "What do you call a fish with no eyes?" he asked. Valzera frowned. "A blind aquatic creature." Jay chuckled. "No, just fish." Silence. Then a soft sound escaped her lips, small, confused laugh. She looked embarrassed for a second, then stood tall. "I do not understand why this pleases me." "It's okay not to understand," Jay said gently. "Sometimes joy comes before reason." Valzera studied him closely, as if trying to read his heart through his skin. "You are not like others," she said. He shrugged. "I'm just a translator who couldn't keep his mouth shut." "Maybe that's what I need," she whispered to herself. Turning away, Jay looked around and noticed paintings her as a child. Serious even then, he felt a deep sadness in the air, like a heavy blanket over her soul. "I never had a friend," she said suddenly. Jay blinked, surprised. "I can be your first, if you promise not to melt me." She raised an eyebrow again, amused. "No promises, Earthling," she replied, but her voice had a softer edge now. Just then, a small device on her wrist blinked red. She tapped it, and an alien voice said, "Your Majesty, the Council requests your presence." "Urgent matter," she sighed. "They do not like change," Jay smiled. "Most people fear what makes them feel alive." She looked at him one last time before walking away. "I'll return," she said. "Stay here and don't touch anything." Jay nodded quickly. "Got it. No touching, no dying." As the doors closed behind her, Jay sat on a floating chair and whispered, "What the hell just happened?" He had joked his way into the heart of the most feared woman in the galaxy, and for the first time, she wanted to laugh again. The royal ship landed on a gray world called Drexen 7, a cold, hard planet where the air always felt like stone. It was a place without music, without color, without laughter. Valzera brought Jay with her against all advice. She stepped out of the ship first. Regal and perfect as always, Jay followed, wearing a plain black cloak over his usual clothes. The alien generals lined up in silence, their faces like carved rock. No greetings, no smiles, just bowed heads and cold eyes. This planet was known for strict control and harsh discipline. Even the children were trained to never cry or laugh. Valzera had ruled this place with fear, but now she was different, and the generals noticed. One of them, Commander Tarsk, stepped forward. He spoke in a deep, sharp voice. "Your Majesty, why is the human present?" Valzera replied calmly. "He is under my protection." Tarsk narrowed his eyes. "He is." Distracting, Jay gave a small wave. "Hi." The general flinched slightly, unused to casual behavior. Valzera did not smile. But her tone was amused. "He's here to observe," she said, "and maybe teach." Jay was led into a massive hall where soldiers trained in silence. No shouts, no commands, just pure movement, like machines. He watched them perform perfect drills without emotion, and for the first time he felt sadness for people he didn't know. "They don't smile," he whispered. Valzera stood beside him. They were trained not to. Jay glanced at her. What would happen if one of them did? She looked away. They would be punished later that day. Valzera called for a public meal with her soldiers. It was unheard of. She usually ate alone above the rest. Now she sat at the same table, and next to her sat Jay. The room was quiet, eyes watching every move. Jay leaned toward a young soldier sitting across from him. "What do you call a lizard who works as a spy?" The soldier blinked, confused. "I don't understand." "A reptile agent?" Jay grinned. Silence, then something strange. The young soldier gave a small snort. A quiet, almost hidden laugh escaped his lips. His eyes widened in fear. The room froze. Tarsk stood quickly, his voice sharp. He disrespected order. Valzera raised her hand, stopping him. "No punishment," she said. He only reacted. Tarsk's jaw clenched. "Your Majesty?" "This is a serious breach." Valzera stood slowly, her voice firm. "He is not broken. He is alive." Jay stayed still. Heart pounding. Had he just started a rebellion? Valzera added, "I want every soldier here to tell one joke by nightfall." Gasps echoed across the hall. Some dropped their forks, others just stared. Tarsk looked ready to explode. But the queen turned and walked away, ending the discussion later that night. Valzera sat alone, watching old human videos again. Jay sat on the floor beside her, playing with a small data screen. "You surprised me today," he said softly. She didn't answer at first, just stared ahead. "I never questioned my father's rules," she said finally. "But now, when I see them, living like stone, I wonder if we lost something long ago." Jay nodded. "You're giving them a chance to feel." She looked at him. "But what if they turn on me?" He met her gaze. "Then you'll still be the first ruler who tried to give them life." She seemed to consider that. Then stood. "Tomorrow, we go to the schools," she said. "Let the children hear stories from Earth." Jay smiled wide. "I've got a whole list." What neither of them knew, far above the planet, in a silent ship, someone was watching, a spy, cloaked in darkness. Recorded every moment of the Queen's visit, he sent a message to a secret council. The Queen has changed. She must be stopped. Back on Drexen 7, in a small training room, a child giggled for the first time, and a frightened teacher didn't stop her. Because deep inside, something was shifting in everyone, and it all began with a sentence from a human. The Council of Elders met in the Shadow Hall. 7 ancient aliens sat in a circle with cold eyes and frozen hearts. A glowing screen in the center showed the Queen laughing in the throne room. The sight shocked them more than any war or rebellion ever had. Elder Korak spoke first with a dry and sharp voice. The Queen laughed. Elder Ven leaned forward in disbelief, and in public another elder hissed with anger. With a human silence spread across the room like poison, they watched the moment again and again, the queen smiling. The humans standing beside her without fear, the guards frozen in confusion, the empire trembling without a sound. Elder Korak slammed his hand on the table. This cannot continue. Laughter is chaos. Emotion destroys order. The others nodded slowly, their eyes glowing with agreement. Something must be done. The queen must be corrected. While they planned against her, Queen Valzera and Jay were on Drexen 7 visiting a school. The classrooms were gray and silent. Children sat in straight lines with stiff shoulders and blank eyes. No talking, no expression, no joy. Jay opened a small book from Earth. He showed the picture of a bear who lost his pants. At first, the children only stared, unsure, confused. Then one child let out a tiny laugh, soft, quick, afraid, but the small sound filled the whole room. More children began to smile. A few covered their mouths. One giggled again. Jay felt warmth in his chest. Valzera watched with a strange light in her eyes. For the first time as a ruler, she did not feel heavy, not feared, not distant, just real. She leaned down and whispered to Jay, "Is this what peace feels like?" Jay nodded gently. "It feels good, but peace never lasts long in a place where laughter is forbidden." Her wrist communicator flashed red, urgent signal. She stepped outside the classroom. The face of Elder Karak appeared in a cold hologram, his voice cut like a blade. "You have betrayed your throne." Valzera stood tall. "I have awakened what was sleeping." Karak narrowed his eyes. "Return at once to stand trial. And if I refuse, then exile or death." The signal ended, leaving empty air. Valzera returned to the room and spoke softly. "We are leaving." Jay stood up with confusion in his voice. "What happened?" "The council believes I am a danger." Jay tried a small smile. "Then you must be doing something right." But she did not smile back. Her eyes were storm clouds. They fear feelings. They fear change. Jay looked at her with steady eyes. "What are you going to do?" She answered. "Without hesitation, I will face them." Jay frowned. "You're going to make the coldest beings in the galaxy listen to you?" She turned away. "I am going to make them remember what they erased." That night, the royal ship moved through the stars, silent, smooth, hidden. Jay sat by the window, thinking about how one small joke brought him here. The universe felt bigger and stranger than ever. There was a soft knock. Valzera entered without her crown. She carried a small screen showing an old Earth comedy clip. She sat beside him quietly. "I do not understand these humans. I do not understand why they fall, why they yell, why others laugh." Jay smiled. "Just watch." Let it happen. A man on the screen tripped over a goat and fell into mud. Valzera stared, then her lips twitched, then she laughed, not small, not forced. A real laugh from deep inside. "It feels so pointless," she said. "But it is real," Jay answered. She looked at him with a rare softness. "If they take my crown, will you leave?" Jay shook his head slowly. "I did not stay because you rule. I stayed because you laughed." For a moment, there was no empire, no council, no fear. But far away in the capital, the council prepared soldiers, prepared chains, prepared silence, because tomorrow, the queen would walk into the chamber and the galaxy would decide whether laughter lived or died. The capital city was darker than Jay remembered. Tall towers rose like black spears into the sky. The air felt heavy, as if the whole planet held its breath. The queen's ship landed without ceremony, without music, without greeting. Guards waited in silence, their armor black and polished. Their eyes never moved, never blinked, never questioned. Valzera stepped out first, her face calm but fierce. Jay followed, feeling every stare like a blade at his back. They were escorted through cold stone halls. Torches glowed with blue fire, casting long shadows. Jay felt like he was walking into a trap, and he was right. Inside the council chamber, the elders stood tall. 7 thrones, 7 cold faces, 7 voices ready to judge. Valzera walked to the center, proud and unshaken. Jay stood behind her, unsure if he even had the right to breathe. Elder Korak spoke first, his voice sharp like frozen metal. "You have broken the sacred laws. You have shown emotion, came the second. You have encouraged others to feel, hissed the third. Valzera raised her head. I've awakened something that never should have been killed. The elders gasped softly, as if she had spoken a forbidden word. Korak leaned forward. You are no longer fit to rule. Jay felt his heart drop. But Valzera did not shake. Instead, she said, feelings do not weaken rulers, they weaken the chains that bind them. The chamber fell silent. For a moment, Jay thought maybe her words reached them. Maybe something inside the ancient council would open. But then, the lights dimmed. A hidden door slid open behind the thrones. Black armored figures stepped out silent, masked, deadly. Their weapons glowed with red energy. Jay felt a chill go down his spine. The assassins of silence, Valzera whispered. Jay swallowed hard. That sounds bad. They were trained to remove anything that brings change. She replied, and now they have come for me. The assassins moved like shadows, surrounding them. Jay looked for an exit, but there was none. Valzera stood still, her eyes glowing gold. She did not run, she did not kneel. She did not beg. Korak raised his hand in the name of order. We end your rule. Jay stepped forward without thinking. If you kill her, you kill the future, he said. The room turned toward him. A human had spoken where no one dared. The assassins aimed their weapons at his chest. But Valzera stepped in front of him. Touch him, and you will taste death, she said. Her voice was quiet, but the room trembled. The assassins hesitated, Devon. They feared her. Korak snarled, You defend a human. Valzera answered, I defend the right to feel. Then she snapped her fingers. A hidden pulse of power burst through the room. The assassins staggered, their masks cracking. Jay shielded his eyes from the blinding light. Valzera raised her hand, and a shield of energy formed around them. The elders shouted. The chamber shook. When the flash ended, 3 assassins lay on the floor, stunned but alive. The others stepped back, uncertain. Jay stared in shock. You could do that the whole time? She leaned close and whispered, I never had a reason to. Then she grabbed his arm. We must leave. Now they ran through the halls, alarms echoing everywhere. Red lights flashed, guards scrambled. The whole palace awakened. Jay's heart pounded, but Valzera never let go of him. At the exit, more assassins waited. Jay whispered, We're trapped. Valzera looked at him, her voice soft. Do you trust me? He nodded without thinking. She activated a hidden panel, and a secret passage opened beneath them. They fell into darkness. Sliding through a long tunnel of smooth stone, Jay landed hard. Coughing, Valzera landed beside him. Still calm, still royal. Above them, they heard the council shouting orders, hunting them, fearing them. Jay looked at her, breathless. What now? Valzera looked into the shadows ahead. We find those who still remember how to feel. Jay frowned. Do they exist? She nodded slowly. They were waiting for someone to lead them. Jay blinked. You mean? You? No, she said, looking at him. I mean us. The hidden passage led them deep beneath the capital. Cold air wrapped around them like a ghost. Faint lights flickered along the walls. Guiding their steps, Jay followed closely behind Valzera, his heart still racing. He could hear distant echoes of alarms above them. The council was searching the palace. The assassins of silence were spreading through the city. But down here, it was quiet, almost peaceful. Valzera finally stopped at a massive door carved with ancient symbols. She pressed her hand against the surface. Golden energy flowed from her palm into the stone. The door slowly opened, releasing warm light inside. Jay blinked in surprise. Dozens of aliens stood inside the chamber. Some were old, some young, some dressed as workers, some as soldiers. But all of them had something rare: soft eyes, eyes that could feel when they saw the queen. They bowed. When they saw Jay, they whispered. That is the human, the one who made her laugh. He is real. Valzera raised her hand. These are the hidden voices, she said quietly. They kept emotion alive when the Empire tried to erase it. Jay stared at them, amazed. One of the members stepped forward, an elderly alien with silver tattoos on his skin. We have waited for this day, he said gently. The day a ruler remembers what it means to live. Valzera nodded. But the council will destroy us if we do nothing. We need a way to change the hearts of the people. Jay looked around. Thinking hard, then an idea came to him. Broadcast, he said. They all turned to him. Jay stepped closer, excitement growing. You have screens in every district, he said. You have speakers in every training hall. You can reach every soldier, every worker, every child. Valzera frowned, unsure. And what would we broadcast? She asked. Jay smiled slowly. Laughter, the hidden voices gasped. It was bold, dangerous, unbelievable. Valzera stared at Jay, reading his face. You want to spread what they feared the most. Jay nodded. If the people hear it, if the children laugh, the soldiers smile, then the council loses control. Because you can't rule a world that has tasted joy. Valzera turned to her followers. Prepare the transmitters, she commanded. Send the signal across the Empire. Her voice grew stronger. We will fight not with blades, but with the sound they fear. The sound of life. The room erupted in movement. Technicians activated machines. Old screens lit up. Signals linked to satellites above. Jay stood at a microphone, unsure. What do I even say? Valzera smiled softly. Be human, she said. So he spoke. He told a simple joke. Then another. He told stories of Earth, funny ones, awkward ones, childish ones. His voice spread across the Empire, into schools, into prisons, into soldier barracks. And something incredible happened. People laughed, quiet at first, then louder. Some tried to hide it, others let it burst out openly. Children giggled freely. Soldiers looked at each other in confusion. Workers dropped their tools, smiling. Teachers didn't stop the laughter. For the first time in centuries, the Empire breathed. But in the council tower, panic erupted. Elder Korak slammed his fist against the table, shut it down. He roared, "Stop the signal!" The assassins moved to destroy the transmission, but the people were already laughing. And laughter moved faster than any soldier, faster than any order. Valzera stepped beside Jay. She placed her hand over his on the console. Together, they spoke into the broadcast. You are alive, she said. You are allowed to feel. You are more than silence. The Empire trembled, not from fear, but from awakening. However, the fight was not over. Korak and the council prepared their strongest weapon, a machine built to erase emotion from every mind. A device powered by ancient laws and old cruelty. Jay looked at Valzera, breathless. They're coming. She nodded, eyes burning like stars. Then we meet them, she said. Not with silence, but with a voice they can't kill, together. They stepped forward, not as queen and prisoner, not as alien and human, but as two beings who dared to change a galaxy. The council tower shook as the final alarm echoed across the capital. Jay and Valzera stood together at the entrance hall, facing the wide, dark corridor ahead. The hidden voices gathered behind them, nervous but determined. Outside, across the entire planet, people were still laughing soft, scared, hopeful laughter. Valzera looked at Jay, her golden eyes steady. This ends tonight, she said calmly. Jay nodded, though his hands trembled. He had never fought anyone, never led anything, never imagined this moment, but he stood beside her anyway, not because she was powerful, but because she had learned to feel, and she had taught him something too. Courage does not always roar. The heavy doors opened, and the Elder Council stood at the far end of the hall. Korak stepped forward first, his cloak dragging like a shadow. Behind him, 6 other elders watched with cold fury. Above them, a massive machine hummed with eerie blue light. Jay felt a chill. That's the thing that takes away feelings. He whispered. Valzera nodded. The device of silence, she said, voice low. It was used long ago to erase joy from our people. Korak lifted his hand. You have infected the Empire with chaos, he declared. You have weakened our soldiers, softened our children, corrupted our worlds. Valzera stepped forward, her voice strong. I have given them back what you stole, she said. Life, love, laughter. Korak snarled. Emotion builds rebellion. Jay took a breath and spoke. And silence builds prisons. The council turned their eyes to him. Shocked that a human dared speak again, Korak pointed toward Jay. Activate the device, he ordered. The machine above them lit up, sending a cold wave through the air. Jay felt his chest tighten, his memories blurred. The sound of children laughing began fading from his mind. Faces blurred, feelings slipped like sand. He fell to his knees, gasping. Valzera turned sharply, rage burning through her. Stop this, she commanded. Korak ignored her. Let the galaxy forget, he said. But something unexpected happened. Through the speakers of the city, Jay's recorded laugh began to play. A simple, awkward human laugh, then another, then another. Looping across every street and home, the machine trembled, its energy wavering. Valzera grabbed Jay's shoulders. Stay with me, she said, her voice breaking for the first time. He blinked, fighting the emptiness. You laughed, he whispered, and she did. A soft laugh, warm and real. The machine flickered again, its power collapsing. The hidden voices joined, laughing together. The people outside laughed louder. Children giggled in the streets. Workers smiled at strangers. Soldiers chuckled against orders. The machine screamed with overload, then exploded in a burst of light. The shockwave knocked the elders to the ground. Korak stared in horror. What have you done? He whispered. Valzera stepped forward. What you feared, she said. I woke the galaxy. Jay stood beside her, breath returning, feelings flooding back. The elders looked small now, weak without their silence. Valzera raised her hand. You are relieved of power, she declared. The guards entered not to arrest the queen, but to escort the elders away. The people outside cheered, not with shouts, but with laughter. A sound more powerful than any weapon. Days passed, and the capital changed. Gray banners came down, bright colors rose. Schools taught music, stories, humor. Soldiers trained with strength and spirit. Not fear. Jay walked through the palace garden one evening. The air smelled sweet, and alien flowers floated above glowing pools. He heard light footsteps behind him. Valzera approached, wearing no crown, no armor, just simple robes. You look different, Jay said, smiling. She tilted her head. Do I? You looked alive, he said. She stepped closer. There is one thing I still don't understand, she said softly. What's that? She looked him directly in the eyes. You said something about my butt, she said. Jay froze, embarrassed. I was nervous. And it was kind of a compliment. She didn't blink, didn't breathe. Then she laughed. Not small, not quietful, bright. Warm laughter. Jay laughed too. Unable to stop, she wiped a tear from her eye. You are lucky I love you, she whispered. Jay's heart stopped, then raced. You love me? She nodded once, firmly across the galaxy. People felt something shift. A queen who laughed, a human who stayed. An empire reborn, and in that moment, the stars themselves seemed to smile.